Howdy folks, this is Travis of Elston Equine Solutions, a partnership with the Cooperative Cow Company down here in the sunny side of southern Arizona. Today's topic we're going to be talking about is bucking rolls. Yes sir, yes ma'am, that's what we're going to talk about is bucking rolls. We're going to cover all aspects of the bucking roll in this episode right now. Alright ladies and gentlemen, so I'm on top of a saddle right here, and this is a slick fork. We're going to talk about slick fork, and we'll talk about a fork saddle here in a bit. What we're really going to talk about right now though is what is bucking rolls used for? Well, first thing is that a bucking roll has a lot of different terms. I've known in the cowboy roll there's them being called squat tits, biscuits for obvious reasons, look like biscuits, okay? And the biscuits have different textures, different colors, made out of different materials. You know, it could be leather, nylon, it could be pink, they could be turquoise. I mean, they come in a plethora of colors. I mean, everything's out there is unbelievable. And we'll talk about how they're attached here in the future. I just wanted to cover exactly what they're made of. What are bucking rolls used for? Well, that's a good question. Well, a lot of times what they're used for is for multi-purpose type of equipment, and one of them is if you're riding in rough country, and I'll put a picture of rough country I talk about, but when you're going downhill it helps you keep in place right here, because if not you're going to slide forward like you would on that saddle, slide forward on the horn, especially on the steep grades. So they help you keep in place in rugged terrain. Another thing they're used for nicely is if you have a cow that's about ready to cut really quick and your horse got to follow, you can lock in and grab it right here and without falling out of the saddle, keeping your center of gravity, center of balance riding style, okay? Next thing they use for is roping. So if I want to do a long shot and I'm just a roping, you got a lot of arm out here and I want a lot of power into it, I can just power through, and you seen I kind of went against these to keep in place. So there's a lot of services of the bucking rolls. And the last one I kind of want to cover is exactly what the name entails. If you got a raunchy outlaw, or a young horse doesn't know no better, or any horse gets started, sometimes they like to buck. So these will keep your legs locked in like I just did right there. Lock them into place. Hopefully you don't lose your pedals, and you're locked down tight, okay? Now you're gonna say, well, Travis, why even have a slick fork saddle if you're gonna have bucking rolls when you just buy one of these saddles right here? Well, that's a good question. It's personal preference, okay? When I was a kid, I used to ride these. Sometimes I ride them with clients, but most of the time, I just kind of grew up with the slick fork saddle, and it doesn't matter what type. I got obviously Wade saddles out here, but this is what the purpose is. It boils down to personal preference, okay? There's no wrong way, there's no right way, it's what you like. What I do like about these is if I don't want them on, I can easily detach them off the saddle. So that's one of the benefits of the bucking roll slick fork versus a forked swell fork saddle. A swell fork saddle, you can't take it off. They are what they are, they're there, they're cemented in. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of the bucking roll. And later on at the end of this video, I'll show you another beautiful benefit of a bucking roll placement that you'll really like. I learned it from Bruce Sandifer earlier this year, and he showed me a good placement of where bucking rolls can go if you got a real bronchi horse or potential of it. So stay tuned and we'll show you that at the end of this episode. All right folks, so I tuned you in a little bit closer to these bucking rolls. Bucking rolls come in a lot of different leather styles. They can be rough out, they could be pink, they could be turquoise. A plethora of colors out there and type of materials that bucking rolls can be made. They can be made short or they can be made taller for a more secure seat in the saddle if the horse gets real western. There's a lot of different tie methods that you can use to tie these things up. Most of them just come with a little piece of leather right here. okay, to secure it. And there's also a different type that actually has a piece of leather comes underneath the gold to the saddle, and I'll post a picture and a link showing and explaining that method. So those are the two common ways to secure them. If you'll notice on this saddle right here, it's just there's no slot in it. In another saddle over there, I do have a slot, and we'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here shortly. Okay, now bucking rolls can come in two different styles, and it's all personal preference. I like mine I like my biscuits kind of hard and swollen. All right, so that way if my leg gets caught, you can see this one doesn't have much movement on it at all. I do not want movement, okay? And I want them firm. You can see these ones I could push in. You can see that they are not firm at all. All right, so to me, that's no bueno. What's the reason for having it if they're gonna be that soft, okay? I think some people do it just because they don't want the legs bruised, but I'd rather be worried about my life than a bruise, okay? That's when you got cowboy up. Okay, so the materials that go inside these bucking rolls vary. You can see this one has, inside of it has wool, okay? So a lot of saddle makers will put wool inside of them. And other ones, saddle makers actually put horsehair in them, okay? Now this came off my old guy, old Blaze, my horse. He's getting up there in age, close to 30, and I went ahead and shed him out. And if he ever passes away, I'm gonna fill up my bucking rolls with his horsehair, so that way he's always with me. So that's an idea for you. If you got an older horse, you wanna keep them, keep memories of them, know that they're riding with you. Hey, this is the best way for you. So all you gotta do is take the horsehair and just shove it deep down inside of the bucking roll to make it a lot better and a lot firmer, okay? And I'm just showing you this just to show you a way of getting the job done, okay? So you can see I'm just shoving here down inside the bottom of this lip, and you can see it's getting a lot firmer than it was. But I'm gonna fill this puppy up, this biscuit up, as much as I possibly can. Because I like some firm biscuits. All right, so we're getting in there, starting to see a big difference. I'm gonna pat it in some more with this horsehair. Old Mr. Blaze's horsehair. Now, I'll probably put this on a different saddle. I got it in a saddle shop right now, getting the rigging fixed. And you're probably gonna say, well, Travis, where did you get these bucking rolls at? Well, this particular set here I got from a guy up in Nevada, Sharp Salary. Nice fella over the phone, and got them in, and I'm going to use them. All right, we're getting there now, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting there now. I want this thing so packed that there's no doubt of how firm. I want it firm like this one here. Okay. All right, so I think you guys get the point of it now, of how to stuff the bucking rolls, and I'll do the other side later. Okay, so this is my other saddle made by Jeff Haslam. All right, originally it's out of Montana. I think it's in Idaho now, but I just wanted to show you this slot here to help keep the bucking rolls a lot better in place. Okay, So that way you got 1 point of contact, 2 point of contact of anchor point, and a 3rd point down here. So I really like this setup. It's just a little slot. They punch through the leather, all right, of the seat, and they got her done. And that's a darn good way of doing it. Better than, in my opinion, this is the other way of doing it. So you only got 2 places of securement. One here, and you got a piece of string across without no indent. All right, so, and we're going to show you how to put these on, but first I want to talk about the history. All right, folks, so let's talk a little bit about the history of the bucking rolls. I love history, so might as well throw it on this channel. So there's a gentleman named John Clark from John Clark Saddlery up in Portland, Oregon, actually came up with the first patent of the bucking roll. It was right around the turn of the 19th century, and it was very interesting because basically it looked like an inner tube that was filled up and round like a bucking roll that I showed you earlier. But anyhow, if you could, it'd be filled up here to here, and it'd be round tube all the way across, okay? And I figured I'd just demonstrate that. But he's the one actually invented the bucking roll, and then turned into the modern bucking roll that you've seen today. All right, folks, so one tip I want to give you is normally when we're roping, I always have my rope on this side of the saddle, just like everybody else in the buckaroo cowboy world and stuff, and you'll see a little piece of leather that's starting to get pretty frayed right there. That is due to a rope, okay? Your catch rope being on here, and what it'll do is it'll start rubbing right through your bucking roll. So what you want to do at times is make sure that you flip-flop your bucking roll. So all I'll do is take this one and just place it over here, and bring that one over here before it gets worn out. So that's one thing you want to think about long-term on these bucking rolls, that they will wear out with your lariat that's tied right here, and they'll scrape up and down. And I just wanted to point that out to you. All right, folks, so I'm going to show you real quick how to put the bucking rolls on. I just filled up both sides with hair. And we're ready to go. So basically all you need for a tool is really just a cross tip screwdriver. Right underneath this portion there's going to be a little screw, and all you're going to do is unscrew and twist it easy peasy. And then all you got to do is line up the washer. Normally most of saddles come with a little washer, and then they come with the screw. Just place it inside the hole. All I like to do is just preset it a little bit, screwing it in. I'll come over here and I will match it up. And I say I like to pre-drill, but now I gotta find the hole. So I look through, find the hole. I like to preset a lot because I don't lose the washer, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I found the hole. Now all you gotta do is screw it on. All right, so I'm gonna put it in place where I want it. Okay, so you see it's mounted here, and all you do, same thing on the other side.
Of course, I got my washer. Ta-da! Place it on.
Okay, once this side's mounted and this side's mounted, all we're going to do is draw up the string real tight, as tight as we possibly can. Okay, and I'm just going to feed through the buckle. There's 9 different ways to skin the cat, so don't get bent out of shape of what your knot looks like. what anything looks like on this. Just get the job done where it'll be secure. And then you'll be happy and satisfied that you got a little bit more security on your ride when things get bad. And now I'm going to start wrapping from north to south, because I was going east to west. I just repeat it all the way through, making sure it looks nice and pretty. And then I left this one a little bit loose because that's what I'm going to feed the end back through. So I got the pointy end of my piece of leather. All I'm going to do is go through the first one, the second one. So there's the first one. Now I'm going to go through the second wrap. And like I said, don't get bent out of shape because you can't see it or understand the knot, because it's however we want to do it, folks. Just make it pretty, make it look secure, okay? All right, so I'm going to tuck the tail underneath. And then what I like to do is just roll my hand and make sure it's seated pretty darn good, okay? So that's just an example of how to put the bucking rolls onto your slick fork saddle. Hope that helped you out a little bit, all right? All right, folks, so I'm going to tell you a story about I was up at a workshop not too long ago for the California's Bridle Horse Association. They were putting on a workshop. That'd be Bruce Sandifer and Jeff Derby. Had an excellent time up there and rode some horses, worked cattle, and we learned a lot of cool stuff. I know I learned a lot. And even as a trainer and a horseman, you never stop learning, and I love going to stuff like that. So anyhow, we got done with the day, and I was walking past Bruce Sandifer's horse trailer, and I see a stack of saddles, kind of like this one. And I'm looking at it, and he's got his bucking roll really down low on his saddle. So I stopped, I looked at it, and I looked up Bruce. I said, Bruce, it looks like one of your biscuits kind of dropped. He goes, yeah, that happens with old age. And we just kind of chuckled about that. And when I started looking at it, he goes, there must have been, I don't know, hundreds of people walk past that saddle and never mentioned a bucking roll being lower. And with the keen eye, I said, yes, sir. I said, what's the benefit of it? And I kind of suspected that there's some good benefits from it because Bruce is a good horseman and stuff. And he goes, well, if you take a bucking roll, because normally they're up high, you can look over here on this side here, you can see traditionally the bucking rolls are up here, okay? To engage it, I have to lift up my leg and lock it in place a little bit. When that happens, when you naturally tense up and you grab and try to preserve your life, your stirrups tend to come up and you lose them, especially if you're, see, I just lost my pedal. Especially if you ride kind of long-legged, all right? So if you look back over here, you can see Bruce said to make sure that you invert it. So that's what I did. All I did was take this and go whoop and sweep it down. Now you can see my leg position. I'm locked up in my leg and I can really sink down on it and it's there. I don't have the issue. I don't have a problem. And if you think about it, it's been around a long time. You've seen Australian saddles, they kind of go low down here. I know there's some English saddles with bars that kind of go low here. It's the same principle, folks. So I told Bruce I'd give it a try, and I did. And I just wanted to share it with you, just a way of getting it done when you're riding in the rough country, or on a bronc, or you're roping and you're tossing your lope. You know, stuff like that. Everything we talked about. So if you come up close here, you kind of see how we did it. It's not finished yet. But all I did was put some holes right here on the skirting. And I just put a bleed knot on a saddle string tie. And it's on the sturdy. And I just used a regular screw that came in with the saddle. That screws into the tree. And I'll tell you what, that is That is solid. I like that. So there you go, folks. So there's the tip. So I hope you liked today. Everything covered on the bucking rolls, from the history, the whys of it, the purpose of it, the different colors, the different designs that you put on, the stamping, whatever the material goes into the bucking rolls, and also why I like them. And I like them because they're versatile. I could take them off, I could put them on, and I like everything to be modular. That's what Travis likes. So, and you know the two different leg positions on the saddle. So now you have the knowledge to become the solution. Take care now. See you next time. Adios.